There's a bloody rhinoceros head in the corner that nobody is talking about. And it is that mercury is used by 30 million gold miners around the world because they have to. They can't make a living without using mercury. And 53% of all the gold that's mined in the world the jewelry industry buys, these miners bring up, using mercury, about 20% of all of our gold. So we're buying 10% of the world's, 10% of all of our gold has been sourced by mercury. So right now, that's something that the industry isn't aware of, media is not aware of yet, but I think we better tell that story first. We don't want media coming to us and saying, what are you guys doing? Poisoning 30 million people and the 200 million people whose lives depend on them, plus the rest of the world, because mercury is a potent neurotoxin that never breaks down. We just have an amazing opportunity to take that on, like you're taking on responsible sourcing and credibility and transparency with diamonds. Let's begin. I've actually launched an initiative last year. We are raising $1 million prize to award to engineers, scientists who will come up with a replacement for mercury. A practical, affordable, effective replacement for mercury. So I just want to share that with people to get that kind of fomenting a bit here, and so we can get some action going underneath that. And I really appreciate your commitment to responsible sourcing and the boldness that takes. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, it's great.
Yay, Toby.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, the Mercury-Free Mining Project. And I have cards if you want to come see me later. I'll also post it for everybody.
Excellent.
I have an idea with the mercury.
Yeah, why don't we pass me the mic? There's a mic. There's right there. There's one mic, please.
Thank you. I'm Paul Becker. And with the mercury, since you have Warren Buffett in the jewelry business, friends with Bill Gates, who's doing a lot of charity work, maybe somehow connecting the two and making them aware of the mercury problem and how many lives it's affecting, might be a way to get some action,
Yes.
get them involved.
Yeah, thank you.
Good idea.
Also in response, I think it's great, yes, to go on a trip, you meet the miners, but what can we do more so on a much larger scale? Now, tying it all into business, okay, where everyone benefits, why can't, let's say, the government, okay, when they mine the diamonds, the government gets the diamonds, sell and work directly with retailers. This way, they're making more margin, not only mine the diamonds, but maybe their government, this is nothing new, to cut the diamonds, go directly. Because the evil empire is De Beers, they will be going direct. They're going to try to wipe out as much as they can in the direct pipeline. And I think this could be a way to protect the retailer and the miners directly. Another point would be, and I just had a senior moment, I just lost it. Let's see if I can get it back. Well, when I do, I'll ask them.
Let me respond to that. That's an interesting point. We have to believe in free and fair markets to the extent that, let's look at the Sierra Leone issue, for example. So you get these diggers, and maybe before I go to you, I'll answer your point a little bit. What do we do with the miners, and I'll get to your stuff, what do we do with the miners who are using mercury right now? Do we tell them not to use mercury, starve to death? In other words, we always have this terrible trade-off between people needing to eat, and when you get down to the artisanal sector, you'll find that a lot of people, their number one concern is, what am I going to feed my kids tonight? It's literally that tight. It's hard to imagine from our world what it's like to have absolutely no money in your I was thinking of the movie Midnight Cowboy or something. Have no money, nothing, absolutely zero. So the question then becomes one of, people are working maybe in unsafe conditions, or say the example of a guy, a kid who's 15 or 13 working, and he says, why are you working? Come, Mr. Simon. Why are you working? And he says, well, otherwise my sister would become a prostitute. How do you take your American values from Beverly Hills and try to apply them to a community, like an artisanal community? So I think that I don't know the answer to these questions about where to draw the lines between stopping mercury. Because the easiest thing for the jewelers is to say, we're not buying anything. And then what happens to these people? So this $1 million thing is fantastic. Wow, what a wonderful idea. And I think we should get Warren Buffett involved and Gates involved and make this into a big scientific thing. How artisanal diamond miners can mine gold without mercury would be a huge thing. But what do we do in the meantime? Do we stop buying from them? So talk to me, tell me.
Yeah,
Give me,
so-
you have experience with this. So what do you think and you've been on the board of the artisanal diamond miner, whatever the physical, what is it called?
It's the Alliance for Responsible Mining.
Alliance for Responsible Mining is a wonderful group of people, Minister, who've been working on these issues of safety for people, gold, diamonds, whatever, and they're just some really nice people. He's on that board. So tell us, what should we do? Should we continue to mine diamonds, or not diamonds, gold from miners who are using mercury? Should we not? How does this work?
Right, it's a fantastic question. We literally have somewhere between 30 and 50 million people are engaged in artisanal gold mining around the world on a daily basis. They're using mercury and they lose into the environment 11,000 pounds every day. So, phenomenal, right? And so countries are beginning to ban mercury use. Ecuador has banned it. Colombia this July will no longer allow miners to use mercury. But that's the only way that they can be effective. By mining in a country where they have to use mercury in an environment where they have to use mercury to mine to eat, they are now required, they become criminals. So instead of taking the mercury gold amalgam to a shop in town who's professionally set up to do that, they have to take that amalgam home. And then they'll burn it in their homes, evaporate the mercury to get the gold out of that amalgam. So their lives are really in our hands. We have to support them. And I think one of the most important things is them and their governments knowing that we care, that they matter to us, that we are creating an inclusive supply chain. That they are as important, as you said this morning, they are as important to us as anyone sitting in this room, or even our customers. They are critical to our well-being, our livelihoods, and it's time for us, we have an opportunity to embrace them. And I think it's just the best story that we can tell. And if we start telling that publicly, the governments, I think, will start to look differently at banning the process. We have to keep buying from them. And the more support we can give them, the more transparent they'll become. It's not a clean answer. I don't really have an answer to how we might do that effectively, traceably, but there are activities being taken. So the Alliance for Responsible Mining has begun working on a market entry standard called CRAFT, and it's a way for artisanal miners to mine more transparently, even using mercury, but where we will be able to buy from those people. So it's all starting to take shape in a way that is not really predictable how it will go, but I think having that commitment and that public endorsement of they are important to us is the biggest thing.
I think this is a problem, there's a government problem here, because of mercury is killing people, killing children, going into the air. I think we have to stop it. Now, what these people will do, maybe they have to be given alternatives in agriculture or alternatives in other places. But I think we have to be careful because, this idea that all this bad stuff is happening with mercury, it'll never stop. I understand we have to support people, but we have to be so careful. And I don't have an answer to this one. And we've dealt with these issues of what do you do, and there's different values and stuff. But I think the mercury issue should be put on a higher level of discussion. And I think we should go to Bill Gates and we should go to Warren Buffett and we should raise these issues with them. And is anyone from Richland here? Well,
Yeah, I'm gonna use it.
so what we're going to figure that out. And you had brought up that issue a minute ago. I said I would go back to your issue, but I had my senior moment. So what was the main issue you had brought up in the last discussion?
Okay, well, I want the minister to hear this. The thought.
Your mic's not on.
Mike's on, please.
So